So in terms of like editing language and things you'll hear more and more people say as you progress throughout the industry, I mean, a big one to start off with is an assembly. So basically when someone says, we want to assemble the rushes, essentially what that is bringing it into sort of, Premiere Pro or Avid, and we're going to organize them and structure them in a way that makes sense to not just the editor, but also directors, producers, the clients, those type of people. And basically that can be anything. I mean, I'm quite a sort of an organized person with my edits. So I structure things based on dates, times, location, actors, that type, roles and job titles. That's a big one as well. And basically the better you structure it, the quicker your offline will be able to start. And that leads me into my next thing, the offline. So that's something you'll hear all the time, either an offline or a rough cut. And basically what that means is you've spent however long you spent, whether you spent 3 months assembling that or 2 days assembling it. Basically what it means is now you're in a position to actually share the coherent linear structure of the film. You're ready to share that with the directors, producers, and the clients. And then you've got an online, which is basically getting all those mastered files back, from a colorist or from a sound engineer. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring them all into a timeline. Again, normally minimal tracks for this one because you don't want to overcomplicate delivery and mastering of files. And then basically what you'll do is you'll have some. And then, there's another one. So mastering. So when you're mastering a file, it's basically getting it ready for whatever codec and wrapped in whatever container. So a container is essentially, so common containers are things like MOVs, MP4s, MXFs. Basically what it is it's imagine it like a wrapper, like a sweetie wrapper. And essentially what it does is it houses all the data within that export you're about to deliver. And depending on where you're delivering, the most common one is going to be a MOV. Typically, if you're doing things for YouTube and stuff like that, MP4s are quite common to be uploaded onto YouTube. A lot of TVCs, so television commercials, and also feature films are normally exported as a MOV or MXF. And then within those containers is the codec itself. So that's the actual sort of written data file within that container. So that would be like an Apple ProRes is one, or a H.264 DNX codec. And basically what that is it's a written data file for what you're exporting and mastering. Rushes, there's one. So rushes are basically the video tracks that have been recorded on set. So essentially, like what's happening in this interview right now, this will be referred to as the rushes. We wouldn't say like, the video tracks are being sent over. We'd say the rushes are going to be sent over. So that's another bit of jargon there. And then also in terms of syncing, so syncing and grouping, that's a huge one to know for an editor. So commonly on set, what happens is, especially if you're doing stuff like documentary or feature film or stuff like that, you normally will have the camera operating as a standalone sort of camera, so just recording the video. And normally you'll have a sound engineer on set who's recording all the audio and walking around with a boom. So essentially what happens there, that's why they have a clapper board normally in front of the subject you're about to film. So that basically once it's given to an editor, he or she can really easily sync that up, because all we're looking for a high peak in the waveform of our audio, and then we're looking for the visual cue of the clapper on the video track. So it's really easy to do that. Once we've got those two tracks within Premiere or Avid, once we've got our layers in there, we can easily find that. And basically that then means that all of the audio and visuals throughout the rest of the timeline are synced up.